You might have seen this man before, or footage like this in the news. Media focus has been heavy on China and Russia helping EU countries.
We are grateful for support from China.
Medical supplies from Russia.
And how EU solidarity is at an all-time low.
Evropska solidarnost ne postoji.
But is this true? How come we haven't heard from the EU? Why is that a problem, and what should the EU be doing?
The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed flaws within national healthcare systems, the dissemination of information, as well as international organizations. But what it has demonstrated most critically is Europe's failure in advertising its own corona effort and promoting its public image. What has been clear is that the international spotlight has not flattered the European response. Early on in the pandemic, as we saw, media highlighted the supposed lack of European solidarity by pointing to Russian and Chinese aid to virus-stricken areas, most notably that of Italy and Europe's periphery in Serbia. But in reality, this is and was not the case.
While certainly considered late, the EU and its member states have shown noticeable solidarity. By May 7th, the European Commission had already taken significant action.
1.5 million medical masks will be delivered to 17 member states in the UK to protect healthcare workers against the coronavirus.
This was part of a total purchase of 10 million masks under the Emergency Support Mechanism. The Commission has even gone beyond its borders by delivering PPE to North Macedonia and Montenegro under the EU Civil Protection Mechanism. Intra-EU solidarity has also played a large role. German hospitals have taken on intensive care patients from France and Italy.
On Wednesday, German emergency services collected critically ill French patients and flew them to a hospital in Freiburg.
Austria provided 1.5 million masks to Italy, as well as over 3,000 litres of disinfectant. France donated 1 million masks and 20,000 protective suits to Italy. And Hungary provided 1.7 million masks and 200,000 gloves to 5 member states and 5 non-member states.
But this has not featured in the member states' media, and this is a major problem. Apart from the tragic human impact, the lasting effect of the pandemic will be the question of who was there for Europeans in their darkest moment. Even if European nations did send the most medical equipment, the lack of a clear European presence in media and government rhetoric has clear implications for how citizens will perceive the European project in the future. Italians are already turning against the EU, with a recent poll indicating that Italians would leave in the case of a referendum. And the EU needs a response that goes beyond the Instagram post of the Commission and one that engages with the European populace. And so something needs to be done to build awareness of Europe's actions. The largest response needs to come from the rhetoric of the member states. The EU needs to ensure that national governments give credit where credit is due. In times of crisis, member states tend to scapegoat Europe to ensure domestic support or to put pressure on Europe. While Europe cannot get in the way of domestic politics, following a European response, national governments should pay lip service to Europe and acknowledge its role. But how? The EU cannot make cooperation conditional upon good press. What remains is only the will of the member states and perhaps the influence and motivation by leading Commission individuals to put personal pressure on government leaders. As domestic media is the foremost medium through which Europeans consume content, this is vital in ensuring citizens know that Europe has helped them. But let's say national governments aren't that willing to do so. What should Brussels do? Current attempts by DG Com fall short. InvestEU, EU and Me, and EU Protects do not command the widespread awareness of the public. So EU efforts need to go beyond these specialized campaigns to one general information source. When one thinks of a general European news source, then services such as Politico, Euractiv, and Euronews come to mind. But obviously, the problem here is that these are private organizations. They are critical and investigative journalism, which is great, but it's not what the EU needs. So what's left? The ECAB service does act as the media arm of the European Commission, and to a certain extent, it's the right idea, but it doesn't do enough. Much in the same way that Solvit is the organization that solves common citizenship problems, there needs to be a similar point of call for media and information. This could be organised by DG Com, or revamping the ECAV service, or creating a new independent body altogether, but it would be vital in creating awareness of Europe in the day-to-day thinking of EU citizens, especially in times of crisis. It is such a media source that could help generate popular support and create a common sense of European identity. It would help in generating this much hallowed solidarity in future crises, and it can put focus on the considerable good that the EU does. Just a small example, in donations to the COVID-19 response fund in the WHO, the EU and its member states have donated more than China and the US combined. In overseas development aid, the EU and its member states are by far the top donor. And so, with such a media source, the EU will ensure that its citizens realise that it performs the public good, and that they have a friend in the EU, and not in China